Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the MLB slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, August the 18th. We do have another 11-game slate today, 11-gamer on both DK and Yahoo. So we will break down this 11-game slate. We'll start off at pitching like we always do. Just before we do get started, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I do have a ton of content coming out right now. I'm uploading MLB and NBA videos pretty much every single day. I've been, missing some MLB videos here and there. I didn't have an MLB video out the other day, but I'm trying to get MLB videos out every single day. Also trying to get NBA videos out, every single day as well. A ton of content coming out right now on the channel. Hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, so that way you never miss out on any of my new uploads and you get a notification sent to your phone every time I do post a new video. You'll never miss any new vids. And then if you would like, I do have more content available on Patreon. If you want to get more from me than just the videos that I put out on YouTube, I do have stuff available over on Patreon. You can get access to my articles that I write Monday through Friday for both NBA and MLB. You can get access to my updated core plays. You can get in our Discord chat as well. All that is available on Patreon. You can check that out, link down below in the description. But let's go ahead and start off at pitcher today. We'll start off at the top like we always do. So we have one guy over 10K on Draftkings, and that is Yu Darvish. He is 10,500 on DK. Most expensive pitcher on Yahoo as well. Very expensive over there. He's $57. So just looking at Darvish today, I have no problems with Yu Darvish here against the Cardinals. This Cardinals lineup, not a team I'm too scared of against right-handed pitching. There are some strikeouts in this lineup as well. If we look at K rate so far this season against right-handed pitching, the Cardinals are top 10 in K rate against righties. They rank 9th, 24.8%. You can get some strikeouts, from guys like Tyler O'Neill. Harrison Bader will strike out. I believe Dylan Carlson, I think he's a young hitter. I'm pretty sure he has a pretty high strikeout rate just so far this season. Paul Goldschmidt, a very solid hitter. Colton Wong, Edmund, those guys really aren't going to strike out much, but, like O'Neill, Carlson, Harrison Bader, you can get some Ks there. Like I said, they do have they are top 10 in K rate so far this season against righties. Like I said, I have no problems with Darvish here. I just don't know if he's going to be a guy that I prioritize today. I do like some of these pitchers in the 9K range. Plus, like on Yahoo, it's really tough to get to Darvish. He's $57. He's he's $8 more than Kenta Maeda. When you look at some of the other options we have, he's $20 more than Dylan Cease. Luis Castillo, is also $37, so he's $20 more than Luis Castillo. I just don't think I need to pay that much for Darvish when we can get other guys that have just as much upside. I'm not saying I'm going to be full fading him. I just don't expect him to be like in my core group of pitchers today. Carlos Carrasco, looking at him here against the Pirates, I like the matchup. The Pirates aren't really a team that strikes out much. If we look at K rate so far this season against right-handed pitching, looking for Pittsburgh, they do have the 12th highest K rate, but I don't think that's going to hold. This was a team that was towards the bottom of the league in K rate last season. I assume as the season goes on, the Pirates are going to drop. They're not really a team that strikes out much, but they don't have the best lineup either. Now, I don't know why their lineup isn't showing, but it's not a lineup you're that scared of. They have solid hitters like Josh Bell, Kevin Newman's a decent hitter, Brian Reynolds a decent hitter, but they did lose Starling Marte. It's just not a lineup I'm too scared of, especially when you get to the bottom. You have a lot of easy outs at the bottom, with guys like Jared Dyson, Jacob Stallings, Cole Tucker. Just not hitters you're really going to be afraid of. Pretty low total here for the Pirates, 3.6 implied run total. The Indians are big favorites here at -195. I definitely have interest in Carrasco at 9,900. Kenta Maeda also looks pretty good. The top of the pitcher position today is just so tough because I think all these guys are appealing. Kenta Maeda has been really good this season. The Brewers are definitely a team that does have strikeouts in their lineup. They're top 3 in K rate so far this season against right-handed pitching. They are striking out a ton. Maeda did just face the Brewers, I believe, in his last start, and he was pretty solid. 6 2/3 innings, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, got 5 strikeouts, 21 Draftkings points. I have no problem with him either. Then you have Blake Snell, who normally, I wouldn't target against the Yankees, but obviously right now the Yankees, pretty injury depleted. Stanton, Judge, and LeMahieu are all on the IL, so it's not the same Yankees lineup. You look at their lineup, from top to bottom, it's still scary. Urshela, Voit, Torres, Gary Sanchez, these are guys that can still hit left-handed pitching incredibly well. But there are a lot of strikeouts in this Yankees lineup, especially like Clint Frazier, Gary Sanchez, Torres. These guys will definitely strike out. Estrada, I believe, strikes out a lot as well. Low total here for the Yankees too. Just a 4 implied run total, which is, very low for a Yankees team that usually always has a pretty high total. Vegas is, giving Snell a lot of respect here. We just don't know what Blake Snell's workload is going to look like. They've been kind of taking it easy on him. He's made 4 starts this season, and through those 4 starts, he's thrown 46, 53, 59, and 70 pitches. My best guess is he probably goes about 5 innings, 80 pitches today, if he's pitching well. Maybe if he's, really, really efficient, they'll let him go like 6 innings, maybe 85, 90 pitches. We'll just have to see. It's not like we're getting too big of a discount on Snell. I mean, he's still 9,500. I would love him here if he was fully stretched out, if we knew he could throw, 95 to 100 pitches. But that's just not the case right now. They're really kind of taking it easy on him. They have a quick leash with him as well. So probably won't be going to Snell. Luis Castillo, though, I think is probably my favorite guy out of all these 9K and above pitchers. I have interest in all of them, but I think Castillo is my favorite. I do like the matchup here against the Royals. The Royals' last team were not really a team that striked out much against right-handed pitching. So far this season, they're about middle of the pack in K rate. They rank 13th, 24.4% strikeout rate. Like I said, not a team that strikes out much, but it's a really weak lineup. I mean, not a team you're very scared of. Once you get past the top 3 or 4 hitters, you have a lot of easy outs there at the bottom of the lineup. Just a 3.8 implied run total for the Royals. Luis Castillo, a elite strikeout pitcher. So although the Royals don't have too many Ks in their lineup, I mean, Castillo so far this season against lefties has a 25.5% K rate. Against righties has a 35.2% K rate. Pretty much elite against right-handed hitters. Like, righties just can't hit Luis Castillo. And it was kind of the same last season. If we look at his splits last season, 27.9% K rate against righties, a very high K rate against lefties, 29.8%. Like, this is a guy that can just go out there and mow down teams. I think he should have a lot of success against this Royals lineup. I like him a lot at 9,500 on DK. And if we look over on Yahoo, he's not showing up as a probable pitcher, but he's pitching today, so that'll update tomorrow, I'm sure. I am recording this video on a Monday night. You got Castillo coming in at $37 on Yahoo. I think he looks like an incredible play at that price tag. Like, he's cheaper than Brad Keller. He's cheaper than David Peterson, Tony Gonzalez. Like, give me all the Luis Castillo on Yahoo. He's $20 less than Yu Darvish. Like, Castillo really stands out. It's at just $37 on Yahoo. So he's a guy that I like a ton today. And then you have some other appealing options under him. I mean, Tony Gonzalez, like, I don't know what his pitch count's going to look like. He was pitching excellent last game against the Padres, and they pulled him. Didn't even let him go 5 innings. Got pulled after 4 2/3 innings. Only allowed 3 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Got 24 Draftkings points. I mean, he was incredibly efficient in that game. I don't expect him to pitch that well today. Because of the short leash with Gonzalez, like, that definitely has me a bit worried. But I do really like the matchup here against the Mariners, a team that strikes out a lot, a very weak lineup. The Mariners have been a team I've attacked all season with opposing pitching. Very low total here for the Mariners as well. Right now they have a 3.7 implied run total. The Dodgers are the heaviest favorites on the slate at -253. So Gonzalez is interesting. It's just how many pitches are they going to let him throw? If after 5 innings, if he's thrown 75 pitches, do they pull him? It's possible. So I think that makes him a bit risky. Not a guy I feel like I have to have, especially when you have other options. And Dylan Cease is one of those guys I like in that price range for a little bit cheaper than Gonzalez. So he's 8,500 on DK. He gets a fantastic spot here against the Tigers. So Cease started off the season terrible against the Indians, got absolutely blown up. But he's definitely been better his last 3 starts against the Royals, the Indians, and then he faced the Tigers in his last start. 17, 18, and 21 Draftkings points his last 3 starts. I love the matchup here against the Tigers. Hard not to like the spot. If we look at K rate against righties this season, the Tigers are leading the league in strikeout rate, 30.2%. Just so many strikeouts in this lineup. I think we have a pretty low total for the Tigers as well. If I can find this game. Yeah, 3.9 implied run total for the Tigers. The White Sox are also pretty heavy favorites at -171. Like, this is just not a lineup that you're scared of. They did add Jonathan Scope and CJ Cron, but CJ Cron's on the IL right now. Scope's still a guy that can hit the ball well, but other than that, like, Nico Goodrum's a solid hitter, but, he's questionable, so there's a chance he might not even be in the lineup today. I'm not afraid of guys like Willie Castro. At this point, Miguel Cabrera is just not the same hitter that he used to be. Candelario, Stewart, Maben, like, these just aren't guys you're going to be afraid of. Really good spot here for Dylan Cease. This is another guy that has pretty good strikeout stuff. So far this season, Hasn't been great in terms of Ks against lefties, but does have a 27.6% strikeout rate against righties. If we look at his numbers last season, pretty good strikeouts to both sides of the plate, 21.3% to lefties, 28.4% to righties. Like, this is a guy that, maybe has a tendency to get blown up every now and then, but he is a really good strikeout pitcher, and this is one of the best matchups you can get for strikeouts. Like I said, the Tigers leading the league in K rate this season against righties, so I like Dylan Cease a lot. He's kind of expensive on DK. He's not cheap. He's $8,500, so maybe that keeps his ownership a little bit in check, which I am obviously going to like. And then on Yahoo, you got Cease coming in at $37. I don't expect him to be too popular over there either. I think a lot of people are going to try and pay up for like Maeda, Carrasco, maybe Snell. I think Castillo will be pretty popular on Yahoo. But Cease should be a relatively, somewhat low-owned option today. I don't see him getting like over 30% ownership. I think, he's probably going to be around 10 to 20%, which I'm totally fine with. I'll play 30, 40% Cease today. I'll get double the field and, be overweight on him. The upside's there against this Tigers team. Just so many strikeouts in their lineup. I definitely like Dylan Cease as an SP2 today. But then if we're looking for other spots, like Tanaka, very similar to Blake Snell. He's someone that I would have interest in today, but they're just not, letting him go deep into games. Through 3 starts, he's only thrown 51, 59, and 66 pitches. Like, they're going to pull him after 4 or 5 innings. It's tough to go there at 7,900 knowing he's going to be on a very quick leash. Nate Pearson, Pearson is someone I do have a good amount of interest in. So he gets a matchup against the Orioles. I know the Orioles have been better this season, but, I don't really buy into it. This is just not a team that's very good offensively. They don't have a good lineup. I mean, if you look at their lineup, like these are just not hitters you're going to be afraid of. 4.4 implied run total for the Orioles, so that's a relatively low total. If you look at K rate so far this season against righties, the Orioles haven't been striking out too much. They ranked 22nd in K rate, 21.6%. But I believe last season, they were towards the top of the league in K rate against righties, if I'm not mistaken, or they were at least in like the middle half. I think as the season progresses, we are going to see them rise, in their strikeout rate. They're probably going to finish the season about middle of the pack, if I had to guess. Pearson is, I believe, one of the big time prospects that the Blue Jays have. This is a guy that they expect to be, in their starting rotation for years and years to come. 7,400 on DK. I think there's upside for him at this price against an Orioles team that does have strikeouts in their lineup and just not a good lineup overall. He really struggled in his last start against the Marlins. You would expect him to kind of pitch well in that spot, and then he just really, really struggled. But he made 2 starts before that against the Braves and Washington and was okay in those 2 starts. I don't mind him at 7,400. I think there is some upside for him at that price. If we look over on Yahoo, you do have Pearson very cheap on Yahoo. He's coming in at $29. I think he makes for a really solid SP2 play. If you do want to pay down at pitcher, I do like Pearson quite a bit. I don't mind David Peterson either against the Marlins. Peterson's just been solid this season. He's made 3 or 4 starts, at least 13 Draftkings points in every start. Hasn't shown too much upside. Doesn't have any start over 20 DK points yet. But if there was ever a spot for him to go out there and put up, 20 plus DK points, I think it would be against the Marlins. The Marlins are another team, kind of like the Orioles. They've been hitting the ball well this season, but I don't really buy into it. They just don't have a good lineup. It's not a lineup you're going to be afraid of. They added some guys, but like Corey Dickerson, Jesus Aguilar, but those still aren't going to be hitters you're too afraid of. So in the 7K range, I think Peterson and Pearson both look pretty solid. For value, though, I don't think there's really any value that I love on this slate, under 7K. Corbin Burnes could be interesting because he's a really high strikeout guy, but it's such a tough spot against the Twins. I don't think I can go there, even at a cheap price tag. I don't really want to go to any of these other guys under, 6K. Maybe Mejia for 5K against the Mets could be interesting. He did make a start. He did start last game against the Mets. Threw 67 pitches, but got pulled after 2 1/3 innings. So I don't know how deep he's going to go into this game. Will they pull him after 70, 75 pitches? I'm not really sure. I'm guessing he was pitching pretty well, and then it kind of struggled in that 2nd inning, and they didn't even let him finish the inning. So I guess he has a pretty short leash. That kind of makes him risky. But at 5K, I'm pretty sure he's a high strikeout guy. At 5K, I guess there's some upside for him, but I'm probably going to be living in the 9K, 8K, and 7K range today, playing the pitchers that I talked about. So that's kind of what I'm liking for pitcher. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some bats. So I do want to start off with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are in a fantastic spot here against Marco Gonzalez. So Marco Gonzalez, actually a guy that I played in his last start. I believe his last start was against Texas. And I actually played a good amount of him that start. I can't remember if he had a good start or not. Let me check that real quick. Let me see. Yeah, he got blown up by Texas. I remember playing him, and he didn't pitch that well. But today he has to go in and face the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. I mean, this is just not a spot where you would expect Marco Gonzalez to have much success. Right now, the Dodgers do have the highest implied run total on the slate at 6 runs. They just have such a good lineup top to bottom. Even though they have a lot of lefties in their lineup, these are lefties that can still hit left-handed pitching very well. Seager, Bellinger, Muncy, Peterson, still guys I don't mind targeting if I'm stacking the Dodgers. But I really like the righties, specifically Betts, Turner, A.J. Pollock. Kike Hernandez should be in the lineup. Chris Taylor you have as well. Those are the guys I do like quite a bit from the Dodgers. And obviously it starts with Mookie Betts. I mean, he's incredibly expensive today, but I'll be trying to find a way to get him in. I think I want to build around Mookie Betts. Just love the spot for him here against Marco Gonzalez. Mookie has just been so hot this season, especially as of late. He did homer on Monday night. I just got the notification that he homered. Had a 3-homer game, like a week ago against the Padres. Homered not too long ago, a couple days ago against the Angels. Like, he has just been red hot as of late. Has looked like one of the best hitters in the league. Mookie Betts, in my opinion, is one of the best hitters in the league, and he's played like it so far. Love him here against Marco Gonzalez. I mean, so far this season, Gonzalez hasn't been too bad against righties, only allowing a 264 WOBA, but has been giving up a lot of home runs, over 2 home runs per 9. If we look at his numbers last season, pull up the splits real quick just so you guys can see. Against righties last season, he was actually worse against lefties than righties, so he's always been like a reverse splits pitcher, but that's still not going to stop me from rostering some of the righties from this Dodgers lineup. Gave up a 300 WOBA to right-handed hitters, gave up only .89 home runs per 9, but so far this season, the long ball has been a problem. He's given up over 2 home runs per 9 to right-handed hitters. So yeah, I do like targeting Gonzalez here. I wouldn't mind the lefties as well, because he has been reverse splits and struggle more to lefties. Don't fade those lefty bats, but I really like the right-handed guys. Mookie Betts, I think, is one of the top bats on the slate. Like I said, he's incredibly expensive, but there's enough value. There's some cheap guys that I like today. I'll just name off a couple real quick that stand out. Like, you got Adam Eaton batting second for $3K against Josh Tomlin. I think that's a very solid value. Kendrick and Thames are both under $4K against Tomlin. Tomlin's not really a guy I believe in too much. Zach Eflin, he really struggles against lefties. You got Alex Verdugo leading off for $3,400. I like that a lot as a value play. Even on this Blue Jays team, like Randall Grichuk's only $3,900 against Wade LeBlanc. I like that a lot as a value. Shogo's leading off for $2,800 against Brad Keller. Like, that's another guy you could play for cheap. Edwin Encarnacion, we're going to talk about him in a second. I think he's a great value at $3,900 against a lefty. So yeah, there's plenty of like 3K, 4K hitters you can play that, should allow you to pay up for Mookie Betts. And obviously, if you wanted to, like, you could go a little bit cheaper at pitching, maybe play, Pearson or Peterson, and that should allow you to get in bets pretty easily. But definitely want to build around Mookie Betts today. Love A.J. Pollock as well. A.J. Pollock's been hitting the ball very well as of late. Still really cheap on DraftKings. He's under 4K over there. Not as expensive, or not as cheap, I should say, on Yahoo. $16, but I think at that $16 price, that should keep his ownership somewhat in check. Pollock's another guy that hits left-handed pitching incredibly well. Like I said, he's been hitting the ball well as of late, has multiple hits in 3 straight games, batting .292 on the season, does have 5 home runs, so he's been showing a lot of power. I like Pollock a lot, obviously hits left-handed pitching well, although Gonzalez is reverse splits, that's not going to stop me from rostering guys like Mookie, A.J. Pollock, Kike, Justin Turner. Like, I still think those guys look like great options from the Dodgers today. But I mainly want to build around Pollock and Betts. Betts I obviously like as a stud option, and then Pollock gives you some value, only $3,900 on DraftKings. The Dodgers are for sure going to be one of my favorite stacks tonight against Gonzalez. And then lastly, to end off the DraftKings early core, Edwin Encarnacion, I mentioned him, only $3,900 today against I can't remember what this dude's first name is. I think it's Tyler Skubal, but let me check that real quick. Tariq Skubal, sorry about that. So Tariq Skubal, I don't know really anything about this guy. I think he's made 1 start this season. I believe he's made 1 start. Or no, he hasn't made a start at all. So this is going to be his major league debut. I probably should have pulled up his numbers. Let me do that real quick. Let me pull up Tariq Skubal's numbers, so we'll take a look at that real quick. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, because I've never heard of this guy, but he's a minor league player making his major league debut here, so we'll see. We'll take a look at his minor league numbers just to see what he did in the minors. So In terms of K rate in AAA or in AA, damn, he had a 48.2% K rate in AA. Shit, that's pretty high. So I'm guessing this is a guy that strikes out a lot of batters, given his K rate was at 48%. It doesn't seem like he played in AAA though, so he's going straight from AA into the majors. You know, maybe he has some trouble then if he didn't even play in AAA. I still like these White Sox bats. I mean, it's not like they have a low total. I mean, they're getting some runs here. 5.2 implied run total from Vegas right now. Screwball, just looking at numbers, he did have a lot of strikeouts in AA, but how is that going to translate into the majors? We don't really know here. I'm more gonna side with these White Sox bats, especially some of the cheap options. And Edwin Encarnacion is only 3,900 on DK. I like him a lot as a value first baseman. I mean, we know this guy hits left-handed pitching incredibly well. He's one of those hitters that has really started off the season slow. He's been ice cold this season, just batting 149, only 2 home runs on the year, but still a lot of power in this bat. I like Encarnacion a lot as a value, as a one-off, or if you are stacking the White Sox. I think the White Sox are a pretty good stack tonight. Encarnacion, if I'm stacking the White Sox, probably going to be one of the first guys I look to just because of the value he gives you at 3,900. So I like him a lot on DK. And then to finish out the Yahoo 5, so Francisco Lindor, I don't know what Yahoo's doing, but they've just been leaving him at $12, $13 for like the last week or two. I don't know why he's this cheap. I mean, Francisco Lindor, in my opinion, is still one of the best hitting shortstops in the league. I know he hasn't played up to par, to what we normally see Lindor play at. But like I said, this is still a guy that has a ton of upside, one of the best hitters, has a ton of power, hasn't stolen any bases this season, but does have speed. If he gets on, he's always a threat to run. And looking at JT Brubacher, the pitcher going for the Pirates today, we don't have much of a sample on him. He's only faced 13 righties and 22 lefties this season. Has been much worse against righties just in the short sample, giving up a 492 WOBA to right-handed hitters, just a 223 WOBA to lefties. If we look at, the home runs, he has given up a lot of home runs to righties. So, in the short sample that he's been in the majors, he's been reverse splits, struggle much more to righties than lefties. But I don't think that's going to take me off some of the left-handed bats from the Indians, specifically guys like, Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez, Carlos Santana. I still like those guys a lot today. I think Franmil Reyes, though, Domingo Santana, those two guys look like pretty good values, especially Domingo, a guy that has a ton of power. Brubacher so far has really struggled with righties, so there's some upside for Santana. He's got a lot of pop. He's very cheap. But I really like the 2 through 5, 2 through 6, Ramirez, Lindor, Santana, Reyes, Naquin, Domingo Santana. Pretty much the 2 through 7, I should say. That's probably my favorite targets from the Indians today. Really like Ramirez and Lindor, though. I think those guys really stand out, and I don't know why, but Francisco Lindor, only $12 on Yahoo. Like, if you just compare his price, you look at Ramirez and Lindor. So Ramirez, $5,400 on DK, Lindor, $5,300. So there's a $100 difference between the two. If you look at Yahoo, Jose Ramirez is $22. Francisco Lindor is $12. I mean, that just shows you how underpriced Francisco Lindor is on Yahoo. I mean, I don't know why he's this cheap. Easily one of my favorite shortstops today at that price, and probably one of my favorite hitters overall on Yahoo. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for tonight's 11-game slate. I think we covered pitching, talked about a couple bats I like. We'll take a look at some stacks real quick just before we end the video. So, 2 teams I really like. I really like the White Sox here. I think they look very interesting against Screwball. I mean, he had a lot of strikeouts in AA, but is going straight from AA to the majors, so I don't know how those strikeouts are going to translate, in the majors. Is he going to go out there and, just mow down batters? Even though he had a near 50% K rate in AA, I just don't know if he's going to just go out here and just mow down these major league hitters. So I side with the White Sox bats. I do like them. They do have a 5.2 implied run total, which is pretty high. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to be one of the top stacks today. Highest run total on the slate at 6 runs, facing Marco Gonzalez. I think there's plenty of upside for these Dodger bats. I know they're expensive, but you'll get some value with A.J. Pollock. Chris Taylor gives you some value. I believe Kike is cheap. He should be in the lineup. Yeah, he's 3,600 on Draftkings, so there's plenty of value in this Dodgers lineup. You can still fit in a 5-man Dodger stack somewhat easily. But then some of the other teams besides those two, like the Indians, I do like here against Brubacher. I think they're pretty interesting. The Braves against Austin Voth, I always seem to stack the Braves. They're just a team I always have interest in. Today is no different. Voth is not a pitcher I really believe in, not a guy I'd be afraid stacking against. Obviously, the Braves, not the same lineup right now. They're missing Ozzie Albies. They're missing Ronald Acuna. They still have great hitters at the top of this lineup, guys that have power. Freddie Freeman, Ozuna, Matt Adams has power. Johan Camargo has a little bit of power. Travis d'Arnaud has been hitting the ball incredibly well, and he's very, very cheap on DK, just $3K. So I like the Braves quite a bit. I think both sides of this Phillies-Red Sox game looks pretty appealing. Lefties against Eflin, something I always look to target. So Verdugo, Devers, Moreland, those guys look like pretty good plays today. Zach Galli, he can just get really wild at times. He will give up home runs. He's just not the same pitcher that, he once was when he was with the Diamondbacks. He actually showed a lot of, upside when he was with the D-backs, had a really good curveball that he could get, good swings and misses on. Just hasn't been the case ever since he left Arizona. So I do like the Phillies here, 5.5 implied run total for them. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for stacks. I think the Dodgers are like the clear team today, but then other than the Dodgers, there's no teams that really stand out head and shoulders above the rest. This feels like another one of those slates where I'm just going to be mixing and matching a lot of my teams, my team stacks. I usually play about 10 to 20 lineups in MLB, so I'll probably have, stacks of at least 7 or 8 teams, depending on how many lineups I make. Not the Yankees, but the Indians will definitely be there. Dodgers, Braves I like, Phillies, Red Sox. I think the Blue Jays against LeBlanc makes some sense as well. The White Sox as well. Those are 7 teams, I do really have interest in, like just 7 off the top of my head that come to mind that I feel like I'm going to be stacking today. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for stacks, guys. I think we broke it all down for this 11-game slate. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below before you get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, you can check out my Patreon content that's linked down below in the description. I do upload and post a lot of stuff post a lot of content on Patreon. I upload these YouTube videos, every night, the night before the slate starts. But these are my early looks. If you do want to get more up-to-date content from me, more of my in-depth thoughts, that is available on Patreon, link down in the description, so you can check that out if you are interested. But best of luck tonight, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.